2/3 of our planet is covered with water, but there isn't much fresh water. Its global reserves make up only 3% of the total amount, and they are distributed very unevenly. For some countries, this is a serious problem, and they are trying to solve it in various ways. One of the most ambitious projects was attempted in Libya by Muammar Gaddafi. His remarkable creation is known as the Great Man-Made River. 90% of Libya is occupied by deserts with almost no rain, and due to the high air temperature, moisture evaporates very quickly. In the mid-20th century, Libyans were searching for oil in the Sahara, but instead they stumbled upon something equally valuable for them, the Nubian Sandstone Aquifer System, the largest known fossil freshwater aquifer in the world. It is located in the eastern part of the Sahara Desert, covering an area of just over 2 million square kilometers and spanning 4 countries in northeastern Africa. Its water reserves are measured in thousands of cubic kilometers. In the 1960s, the first thoughts about building a giant irrigation system appeared, but it all began only in the first half of the 1980s. Muammar Gaddafi launched a massive construction project intending to extract water from underground and establish its transportation to the northern cities of the country. According to the most optimistic estimates, the discovered reserves should last for 4,800 years, if up to 1.5 billion cubic meters of water are extracted annually. The implementation of the project was divided into 5 phases. In the first phase, a factory was built to manufacture huge 80-ton pipes that could easily serve as tunnels for cars. In total, more than 500,000 pipes with a diameter of 4 meters were manufactured. The main part of the water pipeline was constructed from these pipes. To bring the Great Man-Made River to life, the country welcomed employees from leading foreign companies, including Americans, Japanese, and Germans. However, most of the first phase was carried out by specialists from South Korea. The concrete pipes were transported along specially constructed roads with a total length of over 3,500 kilometers, designed to allow heavy machinery to pass without hindrance. The first phase included the construction of a 1,200-kilometer pipeline. Huge trenches were dug to lay the pipes, as the water network was to be located at a depth of up to 6 meters. In total, about 85 million cubic meters of soil were moved. The cost of the first phase of the project was nearly $5 billion. In the second phase, which began in 1989, the pipeline was extended to Tripoli, the largest city and capital of Libya, to provide it and the surrounding areas with daily water supplies of 1 million cubic meters. The third phase connected a group of oases, Kufra and Benghazi, the second largest city in the country. The final 2 phases planned to build a branch to the city of Tobruk and connect everything into one system near Sirte. An enormous system of pipes, aqueducts, and reservoirs was created. In total, over 1,300 wells were drilled, many of which were more than 500 meters deep. Before the outbreak of civil war in 2011, 3 of the 5 phases had been completed and work had begun on the 4th. With the help of the Great Man-Made River, Libyans managed to establish the supply of 6.5 million cubic meters of fresh water to cities and settlements, providing 4.5 million people. 70% of the water consumption was used for agriculture. Thanks to the project, large farms appeared in the country where wheat, barley, vegetables, and citrus fruits were grown. The Great Man-Made River was originally intended not only to provide water to the population, but also to reduce dependence on imported food products. Additionally, it allowed for the expansion of green areas in the north and west of the country, helping to prevent further desertification. The large-scale construction project cost Libya a significant amount. According to various sources, the total cost of the project would have been around $24 billion, with most of the plan already realized and the project's completion scheduled for approximately 2015. Interestingly, the country managed to finance the project on its own taxes on tobacco and fuel, as well as revenues from oil sales, helped raise the necessary funds. However, we may never fully know the true cost to the local population, as many political scientists labeled Gaddafi a bloody tyrant, and his regime was considered a source of international terrorism in the West. On the other hand, some saw him as a talented politician and a masterful leader who did a lot for ordinary Libyans. But we will leave the reflections on Colonel Gaddafi's personality to historians. Even during the third phase of construction in 2008, the Great Man-Made River was entered into the Guinness Book of Records as the world's largest irrigation project. Western media reluctantly covered this project, although there are still few undertakings that can compare to it in terms of scale. Consider the cost of manufacturing the pipes. For each section of the pipe, 7.5 meters long, 8 kilometers of carbonated metal wire were required, and the total length of the wire used would be enough to wrap around the Earth 230 times. The amount of sand used to manufacture the pipes would be enough to build 16 pyramids in Giza. The cement used for the project could build a highway from Tripoli to Paris. Objectively, Libyans managed to create a true engineering marvel with which thousands of hectares of land could be irrigated and the region could be transformed before our eyes. But 2011 brought the construction to a halt. The escalating civil war and the military intervention of the international coalition forces put Libya's existence as a unified state at risk. In the fall of 2011, Muammar Gaddafi, who had effectively ruled Libya for more than 40 years, was captured by rebels, subjected to a brutal and swift summary execution, and then killed. After his death, chaos reigned in the country, and irrigation projects were no longer a priority. The war caused damage to already constructed sections. They were bombed by NATO forces, destroyed by uncontrolled groups, and even local residents dismantled some structures to sell scrap metal. In recent years, articles about the shortage of drinking water in Libya often appear in the press. Water is periodically used as a tool in the struggle for influence by various political forces while ordinary residents suffer. Due to careless handling, lack of maintenance, and armed attacks, the water pipeline infrastructure is deteriorating, and the Great Man-Made River is gradually losing its grandeur. What was built by people is being destroyed by their own actions. According to experts, if the project had been fully completed and there were no obstacles to its uninterrupted operation, North Africa could have become the world's breadbasket. Unfortunately, when this will happen is unknown, and it is uncertain if it will happen at all. That's all for now, friends. Please share the video if you want to support us, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell if you're new here. Goodbye.